Amazon EC2, secure, resizable compute capacity for virtually any workload. Amazon EC2 is a web service that provides secure and resizable compute capacity in the cloud. It allows you to provision virtual servers called EC2 instances. Think of the virtual machines you may have installed on your computer. Now, move these virtual machines to the AWS cloud, and they are known as EC2 instances. Although AWS uses the phrase web service to describe this, you are not limited to only running web servers on EC2 instances. EC2 instances allow for various configurations of CPU, memory, storage, and network capabilities. So, when you launch an EC2 instance, you can choose from predefined configurations available for a variety of workloads. For example, certain EC2 instance types are pre-configured for specific workloads such as web servers or database servers, while there are others for applications that require low latency, high CPU, high memory, and other requirements. Thus, when you launch an EC2 instance, you can choose from a predefined configuration, or you can also customize the configuration. Know that these EC2 instances can be launched in multiple regions. You can choose a region that is closest to you, or you can choose the most cost-effective region or the one that helps you with your compliance requirements. For example, if your business is located in Madrid, the EU, Ireland, region might be your ideal choice to launch an EC2 instance, as this could minimize latency. However, if you find that rates are more affordable in the Northern Virginia region of the U.S., you might consider this option to optimize your costs. In the event that you must adhere to the General Data Protection Regulation, GDPR, it would be advisable to select a region within the EU. Amazon EC2 service is also known as IaaS, or Infrastructure as a Service. Therefore, when you create a virtual machine with Amazon EC2, you have full control over the operating system and the applications running on it. You can use the EC2 instance to create a web server, a database server, or a batch processing server. Since the infrastructure is under your control, you can decide how you want to use it, and that is known as Infrastructure as a Service. Imagine you want to install a database on an EC2 instance. Since the EC2 instance is an IaaS, or Infrastructure as a Service offering, you are responsible for the EC2 instance and for managing the database running on top of it. For use cases where you do not want to manage the underlying EC2 infrastructure, AWS offers managed services such as Amazon RDS, or Relational Database Service, AWS Lambda, AWS Elastic Beanstalk, among others. Another thing to remember is that because the infrastructure is under your control, you are also responsible for its security, such as patching the operating system. Now, let's talk about the key features of Amazon EC2. The first is low cost. Amazon EC2 instances are launched using shared hardware. In the background, AWS uses physical servers to launch EC2 instances, and the capacity of these physical servers is shared among multiple clients. AWS does this using hypervisors. A hypervisor is software used to manage virtual machines. Common examples are VMware and VirtualBox. The hypervisor allocates physical server resources, such as CPU and memory, to multiple virtual machines, in this case, EC2 instances. The hypervisor is not visible to the end user. Therefore, when you launch an EC2 instance, you only have visibility into the instance itself. You cannot see the underlying physical server or the hypervisor. These EC2 instances running on the same underlying physical server can belong to different customers, and because multiple customers share the physical resources, the cost is split, making Amazon EC2 an incredibly economical offering. The next key feature of Amazon EC2 is that it is rapidly scalable both up and down. Suppose you launch an EC2 instance with 2 vCPUs and 2 GB of RAM. As you look at your usage, you realize that you need more capacity to serve your customers. All you have to do is shut down the instance, change the configuration, and restart it. And now, in a matter of minutes, you have more capacity. The reverse is also true. Suppose you start with more capacity and realize that you have over-provisioned. In a matter of minutes, you can reduce the instance configuration. In addition, you have full control over the instances. You can control the configuration, the operating system, and any applications you install on it. With Amazon EC2, there is no upfront investment required. You don't need to purchase any hardware to get started. And for usage, it has a pay-as-you-go model, meaning you only pay for what you use. AWS has other payment models like reserve instances and savings plans that give you discounts for paying upfront, which we'll talk about later. But to get started with this C2, you don't need them. You can use the pay-as-you-go model and limit yourself to paying only for what you consume. Now, knowing all this about Amazon EC2, how could you design a cloud solution with this service? Let me give you a simple example. With Amazon EC2, you can create a multi-tier application. For example, you can create an instance on a public subnet that hosts a website and allows internet traffic. Then, you can create another EC2 instance on a private subnet that hosts a database where you need full control and has a tighter security group that restricts internet traffic, thus allowing the website instance to access the database instance. If you configure the security group of the database instance correctly, internet traffic will not be able to access the database instance. Remember that the security group acts as a virtual firewall that controls traffic to and from the instance. So, as you can imagine, these features make Amazon EC2 an attractive compute offering for small customers and large enterprises.